And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. So I don't know, it's much of a wisdom. I'm learning too. I'm a new entrepreneur, so to speak, and Atomy and these meetings actually help me get into this mindset. Um, that is the truth. So yeah, it's important to attend these meetings, and it has tremendously helped me. And I think we have always discussed this before, and also I have read about this too, um, which is it's important, as John mentioned, to keep that momentum. It's to keep that mindset. So it's easy to get excited about something, and it is not easy to sustain that excitement all through the journey, especially that this is not a get rich quick scheme. For get rich quick scheme, that's easy. You probably need to get excited only one time, and then you know well, it's a scheme. You are not going to get rich with that scheme. But in a journeys like Atomies, that's not the case. It's a long journey. So uh, it's important for us to have a goal in mind, what we want to achieve 10 years from now, what we want to achieve 5 years from now. Actually, scrap that, not want, what we will be achieving 10 years from now, what we will be achieving 5 years from now, what is our goal 1 year from now, and what will it take for us to get to that goal 1 year from now. And we need to have that clear idea in our mind, and just work towards it. And in my opinion, the success formula is really simple. Um, you have a goal in your mind, you believe in it. That is a faith. That's a faith part. You believe in it, and then you just work towards it. Do not quit on the way. These four things, really, if you sustain this, if you hold on to it, that's all what is needed for you to achieve success. Now, why not everyone is achieving success? Because it's not easy to be in that mindset to hold on to this till we achieve. So we have discussed this a long time ago, but I'm going to walk through just a very high level summary of a book that I read earlier. And a few of us has read that book, as I am aware. It's called The Slight Edge. I'm going to share my screen, okay? It's a very short presentation. Okay, so The Slight Edge, it's written by Jeff Olson. It's very popular among it's a very popular book among the entrepreneurs and newly minted entrepreneurs, more specifically, because it's one of the books. If you read through this, it's one of the books that that instills in you that very basic thing. One of the very basic things that any successful entrepreneur or any successful individual, for that matter, needs to have in their life. So essentially what it says is, you can have a massive idea in your mind, and do not get overwhelmed by that massive idea. The massive idea you will achieve over a period of time. Do not expect that to happen, say, the very next day. But in order to achieve that, all that you really need to do is simple, progressive improvements from the previous day, or simple habits that you need to develop and stick onto it throughout the journey. And so the massive successes do not happen overnight. when we say the overnight success of a movie star, that really, yes, we all came to know about that success overnight. Yesterday, we didn't know that person. Today, his movie or her movie is a huge success. And we believe that we call it overnight success or we call it lucky. However, it didn't happen that way. It would have happened over a period of probably years of work by this artist behind the scenes, looking for a job, consistently looking for a job, eventually getting the job, sometimes getting junior roles, and then graduating towards that that amazing performance that we see on the screen. So it took years of process. Another example that everyone talks about is um, the sportsmen, the Olympians. So they win a gold medal and all the accolades for winning for doing a 100-meter sprint in the Olympics that lasts for 7 seconds or 8 seconds or 9 seconds. So we would feel that, okay, for that 9 seconds of work, he became famous and he made millions of dollars. But as we all know, it's not just that 9 seconds of work. They would have started training from a young age and probably started practicing for that Olympics in mind, maybe 4 years or 6 years prior to that. So this is consistent work that eventually turns into that what we call as overnight success. So other than this, there's nothing called overnight success. That's kind of the high-level summary of this book. I highly recommend everyone to read through this if you haven't. And in this book specifically, they call it slight edge. That means that slight edge everyone has. Everyone. This can be done by everyone, anyone. Everyone has in their life by making that small incremental updates to their life each day, every day. So what this says is, this one graph says is, yeah, you just need to, do not be overwhelmed by the huge goals in front of you. Just do easy to do, simple disciplines made consistently over time. Consistency is the key here. If you are, that goes in anything, including doing Atomy, right? And think about consuming hemohim. You can't really skip hemohim for 7 days and on the 7th day eat 7 hemohims. It doesn't work that way. If you want to achieve the benefits that hemohim provides you, you have to consistently take one, if that's your number, or 2 or 3, whatever that your number is, but consistently do it every day. And then you will see that benefit gradually. It's not going to be, an overnight success. So, yeah. So, what is uncomfortable early in your life or early in your journey becomes comfortable later. If you see this graph representation, the early period in your journey is kind of like almost flat line, and then suddenly it picks off later. It's a compounding effect. And on the contrary, what's comfortable early becomes
exactly, and lots of that. And if more Americans are driving EVs, they aren't paying to fill up their tanks.
All right. So let me jump into something called the 1% principle. Essentially, what it says is, you can multiply 1 any number of times, 2 times, 3 times, or even 365 times. The result is always going to be 1. It's not going to change. So what it illustrates is, no matter how many times you continuously try to do the same thing, right? Whatever you're doing right now, if you do that again and again, the result, what you are going to see, is not going to be different, because there is no improvement that you are doing in your life. The 365 is significant number because it denotes 1 year, right? So this is what we just saw. However, if you change that to, if you add a 1%, which is 1.01, 1% increment from your previous day to every day, okay, now that becomes 37.8. See the massive difference that happens by just have incremental updates to what you're doing every day. And in the end of 1 year, you will see it improved by 37.8 times. Though this is a mathematical formula, life is generally like this. On the contrary, if you are going the other direction, it's 0.99. So you are kind of degrading by 1% every day. The end result is 0.03. See the massive difference between, these numbers. And this is not done by a massive jump in your discipline or in your behavior on one single day. It's a consistent difference across a period of time. Yeah, that shows the huge difference between these different strategies. So then one question everyone asks is, if it's so simple, why doesn't everyone do it? Good question. So the reason are, and this is, again, this is from that book, things that are easy to do are just as not easy not to do, which is very true. We decide to, let's say, one of the disciplines that we try to practice in our life is read 5 pages of a book every day. It's easy to do, probably take 15 minutes of our life. However, it's also just as easy not to do. If we read 5 pages of a book every day, in 1.5 to 2 months, we will complete one book. So reading that one book, even though it's a big achievement, but every day didn't take us that much of an effort to do it. So it's easy to do. However, the same thought process goes in the mind that, it's only 5 pages, I don't have time today, my priority is different. I will read 10 pages tomorrow. And tomorrow we might think, okay, maybe at the end of the week I'll read 25 pages, and it's never going to happen. That's how it slips through, and things that are easy, we just decide to let it go. That's a lack of consistency. So they call it the plant, cultivate, harvest cycle for any achievement in life. We need to plant something. We need to plant a seed. We need to cultivate it for few weeks, few months, few years, depending on what you have planted. And in the end, you get to harvest it. That's a successful part of the life, right? But many people want to plant it and they skip the cultivate part. They want to directly jump to the harvest cycle, which is where everyone fails, right? Unless we nurture the plant, water it, fertilize it, the harvest season may not happen. So that is a reflection of what's happening in life too. And the results are not immediately visible, right? If we make incremental changes in our life, the massive success we expect, we will not see it for weeks or months or even years later. So that demotivates us. However, what we need to do is trust the process, especially the Atomy world. We all know what we need to do, and we all know that we will not see success tomorrow, but just trust the process, continue to do what is right, and eventually you will see success. And more importantly, enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, it's very difficult to consistently do the same thing, right? So One of the quotes that I loved in this is, anytime you see what looks like a breakthrough, it is always the end result of a long series of little things done consistently over time. Very true. Just show up, show consistently, commit for the long haul, practice integrity. The effect of time compounding is huge. Pretty much everything that we talked about. So that's all, John. This is something that that I read early in my new avatar, so to speak, and it profoundly affected affected my the way I was thinking. I'm still, I cannot claim to be practicing everything that I mentioned here. However, I'm fighting this every day to be that person. But highly recommend. This is very important, folks. That's all from me.